Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? This is the All Stars. Y'all heard me. This is the All Stars. This is week one, y'all. This is making the cut, y'all. It's about to get crazy. If y'all don't understand what's about to happen, these are three series coming together, y'all. This is series 8, series 9, and series 10, and they are all going for the number one spot, y'all. We about to see which series has the champion to be declared the all-star champ. Yo, that means they better than these all 3 seasons. This is crazy, y'all. We got some crazy prompts. The crazy part about it is the contestants, they don't know who the judges are. So tonight, they're going to find out who the judges are. Tonight, we got some different stuff in the pot. The judges all are going to have an envelope, right? In these envelopes will determine the poet's fate. The winner gets to pick the poet that is holding the envelope. We got stuff like immunity, which means that they can save themselves or somebody else. They got things like double-double, to where they can double the weekly prize. There's things like pick the poison, where the poet gets to pick the prompt out of 3 options. We got, what else we got? We got don't rock the boat, where nothing really changes. Y'all, it's about to get crazy. We got flip the list, to where whatever order the poets fall in, if they picked out, when they get a chance to switch with anybody, so they can be anywhere on the lineup, y'all. The All-Star is about to be wild. It's about to be crazy. It's about to be fun. So right now, y'all, with no further ado, make sure y'all go ahead and spin back and invite your friends. Go ahead and share the live, y'all. We are about to get it going, y'all. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and kick this intro. While I do, make sure you share it. You don't want to watch this alone, y'all. It's the All-Stars. And hey,
Derek Wallace. What up, J.O.? Kimberly Stewart. Yeah. Big Uno. Okay, it's time to ease your mind. No wasted time, I come in peace. Every poem is one of a kind, so every line is R&B. I swear, for God, it's time to eat. This is just the place to be. If you riding with the team, then say it loud. I pray your penmanship be photosynthesis to witnesses, and they attentiveness be memorable mentally and so more physically. The creativity with words you see it vividly. The way we orchestrate the place, you think it was a symphony. So bring your skills if you really real. If it's your spot demanded, are you the one to make the cut and be the last one standing? Then rip where you from, let your heart and talent speak. If you grind and reach the peak, then you a real G-O-A-T. They don't speak, 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 J.O. speaks.
Yo, so listen, the cat is already at the bag. If y'all was watching, y'all already know who the poets are on the Poets Roll, y'all. We about to get it started. We've had some technical difficulties, y'all, so this is the first, y'all. This is crazy. Oh, man, I don't even think I can do this, but I'm going to have to, y'all. Tonight, I got a judge, and I got a host, because Uno, for whatever reason, didn't come. But I ain't doing it alone, y'all. We got Kimberly Stewart, who holding it down right next to me. Yo, Kim, what's up with it today? How you doing? The sound.
Listen, you talk about technical difficulties. It's a few things going on, but we here, and I'm so excited for this round of the All Stars. And Jo, I'm excited that you're judging. I'm about to see what your judge skills be doing. I'm excited about it. Let's go, let's go. And salute to the other judges. And salute. Y'all better bring it tonight. Y'all better bring it. I'm excited. I can't wait.
So listen, the feng shui is off a little bit because I don't have the 2 rows, right? So in the seat, right next to Kim, technically the Poets Row, y'all give it up for, y'all know him, Red Lion in the building. What's up, Red Lion?
Happy to be here. It's going to be a good show. Technical difficulties or not, we here for poetry. So, yeah, man, I'm ready to get the thing started, and I'm excited.
For sure. And listen, on that second row, visually, y'all, they voted. Y'all brought him back. Give it up for my man, Black Chakra in the building. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, y'all done messed up. Yeah, it's not gonna be pretty. So listen, man. I've been very thankful to I brought a newborn into this world last week.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
A little girl. Oh, it's really cute. It's hard being a dad, which is why I'm up now. That being said, I'm feeling way more charitable than before. So everybody in the competition tonight, I'm gonna start y'all with the score that I feel that you have earned the most. So let's rock, y'all.
Let's rock.
Let's see who can beat it.
And listen, y'all. This lady is #2 in the world, and she proved it tonight, y'all. She doing double duties. We just saw her hosting a slam. Now she judging a slam, y'all. Y'all give it up for Lachelle, the shooter, living up to her name. Look like she in the whip. Like, I love it.
I am. I'm still here. I'm gonna be tuned in. I'm excited. I just got to host, like you said, so I'm looking forward to judging because that was a dope slam. So my judging hat is a little bit more critical today because I just saw some fire poets. So
you was just in it.
Hopefully y'all bringing the heat today.
For sure. Listen, y'all, I am excited about tonight. Looks like Modesty is backstage. Modesty, go ahead and cam up if you in to judge, or let me know. Y'all, listen, I'm out of the bag. So look who's in the building, y'all. Y'all give it up for Modesty in the building, y'all. So for those that don't know Modesty holds it back. She's kind of like the stage manager behind the scenes. She works with the poets inside the chat room, encouraging them, getting them right, getting them ready. So I almost feel like it makes sense for her to be here on opening night. She like mom in the chat. Like anybody need a link pass through, anybody got a question, she there. So she been rocking with them. So I feel like she know them. She be laughing and joking. So I feel like they got a friend on the panel, y'all. And hey, I just was able to jump off the judging thing, so I can host tonight and do my little ones and twos. Yo, we about to have a show tonight. I ain't gonna hold y'all any longer. We already running late, but hey, everything getting straight tonight. We gonna keep this thing official. Let me go ahead and switch some things around. Boom. Chakra got the last say. And tonight, calibrating us is none other than Red Lion. Let's go.
So to the trash poet who disrespected the other artists and the OGs at the open mic, I was always taught never throw the first punch in the fight. I was always taught that if I waited long enough, I would discover that most people only know how to fight with their lips instead of fists. I learned everybody ain't worth scarring your knuckles for. And if I got to have some blood on my hands, I don't want them stained with cowardice. Needless to say, I'm still waiting on somebody to throw the first punch. Needless to say, I wish you would swing first. And I know it's not a good thing to want to exercise demons, but if you give me a reason, I don't want to, but I want to. And if the sacrifice got to be you, if I've got to shed this pacifist skin, if I've got to be more Dawn like Kingpin, just know I don't catch bodies. I snatch them, Malcolm, by any means necessary. So before this gets too messy, just know that dirt don't discriminate against who it buries. All flesh tastes the same to the maggots. As for me, I can be as much claw and fang as my name suggests. So I be a humble beast. If I got to be more beast than humble, I don't need permission to be king because everywhere I step, my jungle. So if you tread on me, you better bring your dogs. Come 100 deep. See, that's the problem with chihuahuas. Big until they get stepped on, more headstrong than common sense. Silence is golden, but y'all know them chihuahuas. Yap, beyond that nonsense, confidence, counterfeit, incompetence, and consequence. Don't you know the difference between a goat and an accident? Between a missing link and a misfit, between a sire and a prick? You poke like needles, I'll be a javelin, pierce through the heart, pull out and impale again. Now, when your people bring up my name, you go ghost, look at you, pale again. We're from guest list to blacklist. Still, you insist on making a name at my expense. You want to cause offense? You'll find out I ain't a nice line. When I'm pissed, you'll find no ring to kiss, no time to repent. And since vengeance be the Lord's, I'll be the instrument. You want to shoot off at the mouth, blind fire blanks into a crowded room where everybody want to bite the bullet to the trigger spool. You shoot the feel good, I shoot to kill good, leave a body hollow. Point is, I'm a Second Amendment ready to exercise itself, and every day I must choose my voice, be a lifeline or a shotgun. So if you want to ride up front, know whose hand is on the wheel, my name on the vehicle, and until I give you the keys to the Challenger, all you'll ever be is a passenger. Amateur, you eat the scraps I give you, scavenger. You want a war with the Dons and the King Beast massacre? It's the difference between when you come out of the concrete versus the dirt, and tell your people that if they want to be my equal, they can equally get this work. You want to step up, fence words, and fight? Best believe I can bust your chops with these paws or this mic. I be Tyson on the stage. I lead by trade. Rumble poet, rumble, spit your bars, make them stumble. Hook the punchline, watch them tumble. They get back up, pop the jaw, let them crumble. Down for the 10 count, leave them humble. I'm 10 toes down with the poetry game in my hands. I can't fumble. It's overtime and only time for one more play. And you want me to give the rock to somebody who couldn't even make the scout team? He'll be gone the next day, back to his place, back to spectate when in Rome the best gladiators get ate. But you can't even stomach the appetizers on the plate. And the worst part is we wanted to give you a seat, let you eat at the table. Now we got to watch you choke. And the next time you step up to my microphone reckless, remember, I still got my foot on your throat.
Yo, that boy Red Lion went off, y'all. This the All-Stars, y'all. Just so y'all can see how these judges feeling tonight, we about to score them. Hey, I don't know how you gonna score that. Modesty, it's on you.
I don't even know what to do with myself right now. I'm over here like screaming on the inside of me like, oh my God, my BFF Jill. That was beautiful, Red Lion. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your piece. I appreciate you, sir. I am going to start the night off and I'm going to give you a 9. Thank you.
Let's go, 9. All right. Kimberly Stewart, it's on you.
Red Lion, bro. Listen, I don't want to hear not a nan poem about nan nobody coming for or why you should or nothing if it ain't like that. Keep it in your book. Don't bring it out if it ain't snapping like that. You just snapped, yo, and it's well deserving of what I give to all of the calibration poets. It's well deserving, and I got a 10 for you.
Let's go. 10 in the building. Uh-oh. Red Line, you can't judge yourself, but yo, we about to slide over to the shooter. Lachelle, the shooter. What's it?
Man, Red Lion already know how I feel about him, but nonetheless, I'm gonna start the calibration off with a 9.
Okay, 9. She said, I'm gonna leave a little room. Poets, hey, you see what she doing? And listen, he said he loving tonight. He said he giving some grace. Aqua, it's on you.
Y'all some nice judges. Y'all some real kind judges. What y'all go to church or something? Y'all read Bible, y'all pray, y'all God, he all black and stuff. I liked the poem. I did. I really did. The first half, I was like, speed up, and then you sped up, and I had no complaints. Y'all giving it 9s? Okay. I gave you a 9.7. I really enjoyed poems. I like lyrical disses. I'm a real big fan of them. Don't pretend I'm not. Don't play at me. You don't know me. You don't know me. Just because I'm wearing a shirt that says battle doesn't mean you can do that to me.
That is a shocker poem through and through. I am not surprised.
It definitely is. Y'all, so y'all see what the poets own tonight, y'all. I'm running 2 jobs over here. Now we're gonna make it work, but
that is not indicative of how I feel about the rest of you. I just want you to know that.
For sure.
Red Lion, I love him.
But listen, y'all know what time. It's time to mix words and emotions with confidence and emphasis. You see, it's the hottest show with a poetic flow from the one that brought you right and chill, often imitated, but no one ever duplicates the feels. Every Tuesday night at 10 Central, our words weigh heavy on your mental. You see, we interrupt your normal program to bring you J.O. Speaks Poetry Slam, y'all. Let's go, y'all. We about to get this thing started off, y'all. We got a dope lineup. I'm not going to hold y'all any longer. Y'all remember her from, what was that, Series 9, y'all? She made it to the top. She made it to the last 4. And yo, she's back again in the All-Stars. I'm excited to see her. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and put your hands together for none other than, let me find her. Kay Soleil, let's go.
I used to hate the color yellow. Now I've made it gold. Wrapped myself in refinement. Smelled what it means to really love my skin, shea butter, and jojoba oil. Incense from Walmart. Sirs, summer in November, growth in its purest form, gold, like my melanated mama. Swift and cunning like Oshun's rivers. Deep and complex like Marie Laveau and her bayous. It took me some time. I had forgotten how to use my words, how to speak my truth, forgotten how to plant my feet firmly. I guess that's why I couldn't step into my power. My yellow world was looking piss poor, and I didn't know how to make it bright again. I figured it was destined to stay murky, and I'm exhausted. He no longer calls me Mon Soleil, no longer calls me my son, and yet here I am. I am still shining on my own terms. I mean, I'm rooted. I'm gold like chunky chains and grills. Could have $10 to my name, and I will still feel as rich as Mansa Musa. Struggles is my middle name, but the baddest is my first. No more is my last, and I am still here, still fighting, still smiling, still learning it's okay to cry too, okay to feel defeated, to not feel like my best self, to look in the mirror and see nothing but perfection, only to take a picture in my camera, painting a completely different picture of my features. I am not perfect, but I swear my light says otherwise. Charisma is oozing from my pores like sweat in sundresses. I guess I'm just slick-tongued like that, golden, like sunrise on Rish's windows in the morning. I am fresh as baked goods, soft as I want to be. I'm tough when I need to, gold. I am well past royalty. This is infinite swagger. This here is mine to keep my precious cargo of confidence. I thought I had buried deep. I taught myself how to turn rejection into a weapon, how to regurgitate affirmations like an automatic, turned the bullet points in my notebook into ammo, used this poem to heal myself in ways I thought was damn near impossible. I needed this. I had gotten way too used to accepting bronze. Started to convince myself that that's what I deserved. Like gold wasn't my birthright. Like the crown on my head wasn't passed down through generations. Like each curl wasn't a map back to where I came from. Swear to God, ain't nobody got nothing on me right now. I bet if I reached up, I'd be able to touch the sky, because that's just how powerful I am. Bet if you peel back every layer of me, you'd see that I was solid. I'm 24 carats. Nikki G said it best. I am so hip. Even my errors are correct. This is the last time I question my worth. The last time I let sterling silver tell me they are more valuable than I am today. I choose to channel my inner Ebony Stewart, leave a mental note that says, can't nobody tell me I'm not the ish but me. I am literally just getting started. Besides, real gold, well, that lasts forever anyway. Ashe.
Okay, Soleil. Yo, y'all listen. This how you start off a slam. Modesty. It's on you.
Okay. That was excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I like the fact that I remember the yellow poem, and I had that embedded in my mental forever with this yellow. And I feel like you took everything that you said and you got teed off real quick. Like you was like, wait a minute, you're not going to tell me how I feel about the color yellow. So I'm going to make you feel how I feel about the color yellow. Right? I appreciated that. And I want to give you a 9.
Let's go. 9. All right, Kimberly Stewart, it's on you.
Y'all, the technical difficulties still continue. My holder just is not okay. I think it was Kay Soleil with the yellow and the sun and the gold, and it's too hot to handle, and my phone was just trying to jump up off of stuff. I think that's what had happened. Okay, so definitely remember the yellow poem from before, and I thought, that's where we were going. And I was like, oh, no, we're not. That's not where this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed going on a different journey. But at the same time, the journey was long and I had to retune myself in a few times. And I just was kind of like, oh, okay, it's still going. Okay, wait. So I would just say the poem overall was good. It just was very long. And I don't feel like it needed to be that long because essentially the end of the poem, you were saying the same thing. But you always look good and I appreciate that. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to give you a 7.5.
All right, 7.5. All right, y'all. We on the Poets Roll. Kicking it off, Red Lion. It's on you.
The level of audacity in that poem is so dope to me. I love it. You did a lot of things in there that I liked. I just wish you would have done them maybe a little bit differently. So there were times in the poem where you would switch moods, and I think you did it maybe 3 or 4 times where you switched the mood, which is dope and it's cool and I love it. I just wish that the switch would flow a little bit more smooth. Like there was one time where you were really emotional, and then all of a sudden you flipped into another thing instead of writing us into that mood. And I think in certain settings that would work. But I think for the most part, if you're like projecting that to an audience, we have to catch back up, just like what Kim was saying earlier. So I think just in your presentation of it, if you're gonna be a certain mood, be that mood for a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and then write yourself into the next mood. Just make that transition a little bit smoother. Overall, I love the poem, man. I think the poem was dope. The line with piss poor and paralleling that with the color yellow, and I thought it was really dope. I loved it. So it's an 8.7 for me.
All right, 8.7. All right, Lachelle the Shooter, it's on you.
Hey, so yeah, I don't actually think the poem was long, and I don't actually have anything to say about the mood. What I would say to Red Lion's point is the structure of it. This poem felt like it was intended to be braggadocious, and because you kept going back and forth, where bringing me back to the sad moment, then back to the braggadocious, I think that's what was throwing it off. If you're gonna be braggadocious and get to that high point, I would have really liked to see it in there. Go in, right? So don't bring me back low after you already take me up on a journey. I'm already high and on the edge of my seat. Keep me there and in there and on the high note. So I would go back and restructure the poem so that sequentially all of those low points are early on. So by the time you build in, at the end, I'm at the edge of my seat waiting for you to finish that poem and hit me with the heavy end. So that's all I would say to that. For me, because I still like the poem, I still like the writing, and I think you just need some editing in terms of tweaking and flow so you can perform that better. It's still going to be an 8.2 for me.
All right, 8.2. That's what's up. Black Chakra, it's on you.
People didn't appreciate Brendan Fraser movies in the 90s. I think they're a commodity. I really like George of the Jungle. Airheads is a classic if you're into stoner comedy. Dudley Do Right isn't that good, but I really appreciate the Mummy movies. And Encino Man is a classic. We need more movies like Encino. I just wanted to say that about Brendan Fraser. It has nothing to do with the poem. I just really wanted to make that point. That being said, I thought it was going to be the yellow poem, and I want you to know my face was, oh my God, go watch the playback. My face, I almost threw up. But then it wasn't that poem, and I actually appreciated the writing. I appreciated the performance. Listen, for everybody in the competition, this isn't your first go round. I expect better. That's why the 3s are an option tonight, because hopefully you heard the critiques from last time. If you ain't listen, you get a 3. But I felt like you listened, and I actually did like your poem, and I didn't think it was piss poor. I think everybody gave the perfect critiques, so I don't have to do that. I'll give you my score.
All right, 8.8.
All right, 8.8.
That's what's up, y'all.
That's what's up, y'all.
Hey, Soleil, I appreciate
Hey, Soleil, I appreciate.
I'm gonna go ahead and put you backstage, and y'all, we about to keep this thing going, y'all. Y'all, listen up. Next up, he was the runner-up in his series. Yo, he killed it. I don't know. Some may have thought he was gonna take it, but y'all, I don't know what he got going on now. But y'all, let's put your hands together for none other than Veritas.
I wish it was possible to love somebody to life. My brother who laughs so heartily and loves so artfully just yesterday told me he is not certain if he wants to be here tomorrow. He says it seems to him that he has nothing to look forward to but sorrow. Immediately, a force like the winds of a million hurricanes beat against my soul. Like ceramic colliding with concrete, my heart fragmented into a million sediments. This same brother, whose laugh gives license to express hysterical amusement, gives a gateway to temporal bliss, called me weeping in despair, filled with dread. My brother, who loves so tightly, feels loved so loosely. He cried out to me, clamoring for a reason to live. This man that I saw grow from infant to adolescent to adult, whose face has borne some of the biggest smiles I've ever seen, bears some of the darkest of emotions I've ever heard. And when I asked him for the source, he could only tell me of how he feels invisible in the company of familiar faces, how he hopes to disappear into the pavement every time he leaves his house, how his loneliness feels like he is failing an exam he wasn't even aware that he was taking, how he feels most distance the nearer that I am, and how the bottle has been both his worst enemy and best friend, how his body tremors as his liver struggles, how he feels like a mountain burdening the back of our family. And despite being enveloped in love's presence, he feels like the only gift he has left to give is his absence. Worse still, is the last time he slipped back into the bottle, my mother stared at him with so much disappointment that he wished he could shrink into that bottle and drown. His body has been broken down by this bottle, and it's only a symptom, and the sickness is deeper still. He seeks refuge from depression's cavern, but no flickering flame seems luminescent enough to light the corridors of his pain. And I'm powerless to provide escape from the prison of his mind. He only seems to find freedom in bars. So I'm trying to write these bars to break the bars that cage his soul. I struggle to write poetry detailed enough to capture how he feels. I've watched his tears. I've heard his voice shattered with deep brokenness, but I'm not buying his headstone. Not yet. I write this poem hoping to write shovels, not to dig his grave, but to dig him out of one. I am fighting for him. In this poem, I am writing for him because I want him to live on. Better yet, I want him to live. Better yet, I want him to want to live. But my pen and my presence and my prayer is all I have to give. So I will point him to a power poised on a pedestal higher than my poetry. My words have made no worlds, but I'm praying I can make his day. Because that yesterday I spoke of was 10 months ago. And now that tomorrow is today and he is still here. And when he hears this, I hope 1,000 tomorrows have passed. And though he may still be hurting, I will be there. Because I love him like Steve Jobs loved turtlenecks. I love him like Gen Zers love TikTok. And I don't care if every day is a marathon, I will carry you across the finish line. I am here.
All right, yo, Veritas, I appreciate you, my boy. You gotta get down to this. Modesty, it's on you.
Okay, so Veritas, great poem. Enjoyed you. Thank you. I could feel you reading. I could hear you reading, like the noise of the pages turning and your hands hitting on things, like, and then I could see your eyes. So it was like very disconnected for me, especially we in All Stars and we are making the cut. Like you're supposed to be ready to come for the jugular on every level, right? Because it's a game, right? And then I felt like within the piece, it was like with your voice, with the ascending and descending of your voice and that push of that tone to kind of evoke an emotion rather than present the emotion like you were feeling it as you were writing it. It like read all that, like I read all that hearing it being spit. So anywho, it was a good poem though. I want to give you a 6.5.
All right, 6.5. All right, Kimberly Stewart, it's on you.
All right. So Veritas, what's up, yo? First of all, your background, the blurring your background, I was like, ooh. And I'm having all kinds of issue with my background, y'all. So don't mind me. I was like, I felt like I was waving in the background. But let me just tell you, I was looking forward to hearing you tonight. Because you have like a memorable voice, you know. I think out of most of the poets, like if nothing else, I may not remember your poems, but I remember your voice. And so tonight reminded me why. Like herein lies, that's kind of the problem, and it's good and it's bad. It's like a pro and a con all in one. Because I found myself listening to you and being like soothed by your voice and not necessarily really remembering what's going on in the poem. And so listening to Modesty's feedback about the reading and things like that, that may have been it. However, what I did catch, there was some really like, when you were reminiscing, the pieces that you were reminiscing and the parts that you were talking about with your brother and things like that. I'm not gonna go into all of it, but there were some things that I was like, okay. I think that it maybe some of them were a little too simplistic, but or not even simplistic. What is the word, you guys? Like I could kind of tell where you were going for a moment there. But I'm gonna let the Poets Row chop all that up because I think I was just kind of going back and forth with the poem a little bit too much. So with that, I'm gonna give you a 7.
All right, 7. All right, we on that Poets Row. Red Lion, what say you?
Couple things. It's week 1, dude. And because of that, you have the option to present a piece of poetry like your best piece of poetry. You kind of got to put your best foot forward. Now, had it been a prompt, I would kind of understand, looking off and reading and everything, and I would, get it. With that being said, the actual poem itself, I think, was well written. The one line or the one couple lines that I didn't like were the Steve Jobs line at the end. I felt like it really like kind of removed the like the mood you were going for, and like almost it's like you tried to make it comical and still serious. So those 2 lines that like toward the end kind of threw me off a little bit. Other than that, I think the poem itself was fine. The presentation of it, I remember like some of the critiques. At first, people said that you were too battle rapish, and then you changed it up. So I know that you're a versatile artist. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not. I love diverse styles in general. So I think whatever style you present is going to be dope. But man, I think especially for week 1 and doing it, you got to come with something that something that is going to hit. And perhaps you were trying to change it up. Maybe it was a strategy of yours. It didn't, but like it just didn't. it didn't land as good as I believe it should, because the writing, I believe, was great. I believe that it was really good writing. So for me, it's yeah, I'm gonna say 7.3.
All right, 7.3. Michelle LaSuda, it's on you.
Yeah. In terms of this poem, I do also agree that you have a really unique voice. I don't know what the critique was before in terms of that battle rap thing. Battle rap poets are fire. You got one of the dopest ones here. So if you're gonna be, you just gotta do it well, right? It's not about tone. As long as the bars hit, that we're gonna listen every single time. This particular poem, the pacing was just not there for me. I think there were a lot of breaths and pacing that just really distracted from the poem for me. That they didn't like hit. It didn't work for me, particularly in this poem. I think it started slower than I had anticipated. It was a really slow start. So I was mostly hung up on the pacing of this poem and where the breaths are, but not so much on the writing. I think just working through that, it'll be completely fine. I agree with Red Lion. Definitely remove that Steve Jobs line. I don't know why you snuck that in there in that Gen Z line. Please remove that. But yeah, I don't really have much. I'll let Chakra do the rest of the heavy lifting on this one. It's a 7 for me.
All right, 7. All right, Black Chakra, you ready to do the heavy lifting? It's on you.
It's on you.
Whoopi Goldberg was a real master of her craft. Nobody likes to talk about how versatile Whoopi Goldberg was, like acting, comedy, Broadway. Like Whoopi is really like one of the great acts of our time. And I feel like nobody discusses that currently. And I think that's problematic. I think it's problematic that Whoopi Goldberg was that good at that many things and we just don't discuss it. I do believe it's because she's a dark-skinned woman, Black woman in America, that we don't discuss how great Whoopi Goldberg is. But I just think about so many projects that she did in the 90s and in the 2000s and in the 80s even that I just really appreciated. Yeah. So when I was listening to your poem, I really enjoyed the writing. I enjoy the writing a lot. And I don't want you to think that this is me being facetious or anything. I really do. And my something was going on. I was like, I don't understand why you like the writing this much, but you're not putting a 10 around here. Because there is 10 writing in there. Your usage of metaphors is immaculate. I did enjoy it. I do think you write good metaphors. As a matter of fact, I wrote on my board poet in winter, you know, the Christian poets in autumn. They're really heavy metaphor users. But I couldn't figure it out. And then it was the first young lady who spoke, and she was like, oh, the lack of memorization. And that's exactly what it was. I feel like when you memorize, you master the poem, and mastering that poem helps you master the performance. Mastering the performance means mastering the breaths, mastering the pace, mastering the takeaway, the boom, the bam, and how to slow it down and where to take it. And without those things, and I can understand why someone with a voice and writing like yours wouldn't. That makes sense to me. I don't have a pleasing voice. Many people will be like, oh, yes, you do, Chakra. No, I don't. I have a cadence. And I have a cadence because I don't have a Lady Breon, Lamar Hill. My voice is not melodic like yours. It's very fucking Eminem-ish. Sorry, pardon my language, JL. My point being, I do like the writing. I very much like the writing, but there's a lack of comfortability. And a free lesson. Many people do not have great poem openings. I would say most people's poem openings are a 7. Some people have a 10 in their poem openings. I'm an 8-ish kind of person myself. The landing, the way a poem ends is the most important. I must enjoy the third act. I must enjoy the third act. I must enjoy the third act. And the way you landed this poem was horrendous. And I think you did a big disservice to yourself in the writing. So I gave you a 7.9. And the dispensing of emotions is important, which you can only learn through memorization.
All right, appreciate you, Chakra. Yo, that was dope about Whoopi. Lenora in the comments saying she wonder who she gonna get. But yo, Veritas, I appreciate you, bro. Go ahead and slide you backstage, man. Awesome piece, man. All right, y'all. We about to keep this thing going. I ain't gonna hold you any longer. hey, since Uno not here, this is the time when he would probably interrupt me. So same thing goes. If y'all got it, we'll definitely love it. The poets are still getting paid. The judges are too. So man, the Cash App.
Listen, y'all, dig deep. Dig deep. We know them taxes is coming on. That's what Uno would say. But seriously, you guys, let me just give my brother Jo a little boost here. You know, I love that Jo is bringing back the culture of poetry. If you're in the comments, make sure that you share this live feed. Make sure that you bookmark it, save it, tell your friends and your family about it. There's enough of us in here to go ahead and share it and get more people in here. I appreciate all the poets coming back for this all-star round. And we got bills. We got bills to pay. So you see the Cash App down at the bottom. Hit your boy up. He will give you a shout out if you donate in the Cash App. But support Jo because he's keeping the culture. He's doing it for the culture, y'all. And listen, I love it. I love it. And we need it.
All right. Appreciate you, Kim. Hey, y'all, make sure y'all hit that Cash App. But y'all, we about to keep this show rolling. Listen, y'all remember her because I still remember her. Her words are probably still echoing somewhere through y'all houses, your head. Y'all already know where it's at just by this intro. Modesty hear it already. I ain't even said it. Y'all give it up for J Poetry in the building, y'all. Let's go.
Back in the day when we used to play. Back in the day when we used to play. Back in the day we used to play knick-knock. We used to play with sticks and rocks. Back then, we didn't need no babysitters. Mama would say, stay in the house and keep the doors locked. Back in the 90s, we had fun on the block. Knock the stick off your shoulder. But now that I'm older, I can laugh, but the world is getting colder. We used to yell, ho, for the ice cream truck or the ice cream van, but now there's a strange man throwing kids in the van. Remember hopscotch and goldfish? Remember bubble gum in a dish. How many pieces do you wish? Now little kids in kindergarten learning how to kiss. Little girls used to have fun and roll down the hills, but now all they worried about is birth control pills. Remember the clotheslines? Remember the clothespins? Remember your neighbor will whoop that behind if you got out of line, but nowadays it's more like don't put your hands on mine. These are the days of our lives. We are living in perilous times. The world has a lot of dents. We must break these generational footprints. Folks are hurting. Can't you smell the scent? The Bible is your weapon, so use your tools. What's going on? They took prayer out of school. These are the days of our lives. Well, folks dropping out of school, so no education. Kids going through molestation. No respect out of this generation. No love, folks just having relations. What happened to the old ways of living? So much killing. Folks blowing up buildings. The world needs a healing. These are the days of our lives where so many young people are on murder trials. Men are cheating on their wives. Now HIV is a surprise. Women are cheating. Look at the divorce rate. How could we let the devil come in and take? Folks are bitter, mistreating kids. How well do you know your babysitter? Females are not loving themselves. Older women teach us how to be strong, young ladies. The world is going crazy. Mothers are killing their babies. Do you see the breaking news? Because I see the breaking news. Another shooting in the school. Women and children are being beaten. Feed the children, they're not eating. Prisons and clubs are overcrowded while churches are being divided. Homicides and suicides is happening worldwide. There's more funerals than family reunions. There's more division than communion. These are the days of our lives where side chicks are being glorified. Young kids are horrified. They don't want to die. They just want to play outside. These are the days of our lives where having a side dude is the new trend. You're married, so really it's a sin, but when the truth gonna kick in, kids are failing, getting pushed to the next grade. These are the days of our lives where teachers are being underpaid. Runaways are considered strays in the arms of pimps. Now they prostituting for days. Young people are being shot and killed. But while we smiling, police still profiling. These are the days of our lives where words like I can't breathe get ignored. If you see the crime, you are a snitch for using your vocal cord. These are the days of our lives where young girls got their tongues out. They got their buns out. Young boys got their guns out. Too many tragedy days. When the sun gonna come out? We need better role models before time runs out. Back in the days when we used to play. Back in the day when we used to play. Back in the day we used to play knick-knock. We used to play with sticks and rocks. Back in the days, we didn't have no babysitters. Mama would say, stay in the house and keep the doors locked. Back in the 90s, we had fun on the block. Man, I miss those days. These are the days of our lives.
Yo, let's go. Let's go, yo. J Poetry. Hey, love it. All right. It's that time, modesty. What say you?
Yay, J Poetry. You know, I will never ever forget your poem. It is definitely something that we hear in our house often. Every time I hear you, I hear like an old wise nursery rhyme, like a hood nursery rhyme, storytelling grandmother. I could see you like telling all the kids in the neighborhood about your town and like where we've come from as a nation, as a country. I could hear you sitting down telling those kind of stories, like a fable teller kind of so to speak, I guess. One thing I always say about you, like you don't leave any room for anybody else to hit another topic that you didn't hit. Like you go from the beginning to the end, and that's the power of an intercessor, right? That's just how once it comes out of you, it has to flow in that manner. For me, on the poetry level of it, like it was about like 27 seconds too long. Like it was a portion of it that I felt like without it, it would have been a good spot to just kind of cut it off at, right? So anyways, with all of that mumble jumble that really don't mean anything because, you know, you spit this and I didn't. I mean, I'm going to give you a 7. Thank you.
Let's go. 7. Kimberly Stewart, it's on you.
J Poetry, first of all, let me just say, I really like you. You know I do. You know how I feel, girl. You know how I feel. First of all, you are memorable. Your voice is undeniable. Every piece that you do, whether we are all the way in love with it or not, we can't forget it. You know how to write a hook. Girl, I swear for God, there is some flailing artist somewhere out there that need one of your hooks so they can have a hit. I'm trying to tell you, because you make it a point to make sure that we understand what it is that you're talking about. You give us an opening, you give us a middle, and you give us a close. And if you're going to, you know, do a poem where you're going to touch on many topics within the main topic that you're talking about, you've got to give us a beginning, a middle, and an ending. Otherwise, we're sitting here like, hold on. I think Chakra just said it for Veritas. The ending is important. Okay? It's important. And you ended that thing, child. So for me, if I had to think about what poems thus far I'm going to remember, it's you all day. So for that, I'm going to give you a 7.9.
All right, 7.9. Let's go. All right, Red Line, it's on you.
Yeah, you know, I'm a sucker for like, you know, that old school hip hop style of writing. But you know, with that being said, this is what I want to challenge you with. I want you to work on your internal and external rhyme scheme, just so that the rhyme scheme doesn't become stale after so long, right? Because you already have a very, very, very like gravitational voice about you, right? It really pulls people in. But after a while of doing the same cadence, the same rhythm, the same rhyme scheme, and doing it for an extended amount of time, now it would probably hit a lot, you know, to their point. You know what I'm saying? If this poem was a little bit shorter, sure. You know what I'm saying? It would I would have, been like, okay, well, that was dope. That was nice. But since it was a longer poem, yeah, man, you got space to play around with that rhyme scheme. And even sometimes break the rhyme scheme. You know what I'm saying? Break it more often. Say stuff's plain to us sometimes. And then and then to that point, some stuff is just being said too plain. So, you know what I'm saying? I would say just kind of work on that, man. But other than that, like, you are like one of the most memorable. I'm still in my inkling, my inkling. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, you were very, very memorable. But man, I really want you to work on that, because I think that when you get that writing and that presentation down, you're going to be a monster. You're going to be such a monster. But for right now, for me, that is a 7.8.
All right, 7.8. All right, Lachelle the Shooter, it's on you.
Hey, yes, I agree. I'm working on the rhyme scheme, but also another way to mix that up is if you look at a phenomenal poet like Roddy, who just won, right? Her rhyme scheme is also like phenomenal, but what adds an extra layer is that Roddy knows how to pick a topic and really flip it on its head. So if you want to add an extra layer to what you're writing, dig deeper into subjects. And on the topic of subjects, there's a couple of things that stood out to me. One of the good things about being a poet is also researching certain things. So like there was a couple of lines where I was like, is that right? Specifically when you started mentioning about cheating and divorce statistics and all of those things, was like, I don't know how valid that is. In my head, it specifically like stood out for me. But at the same time, the writing is like it's solid. But yeah, so just those couple of things, I definitely working on that rhyme scheme, like he said, but also adding an extra layer inside of the writing, because this was still fairly surfaced for me. But I don't, yeah, so it didn't, quite hit as hard as I would have liked it to, especially given the cadence that you had introduced and that your voice and how you spit is so memorable, right? Chakra just mentioned Breon. Breon has that melodic type of voice, and I think you could potentially fall into that category as well. You just have to also add that extra layer inside of the writing. For me, I'm going to give it a 7.2.
All right, 7.2. All right, Black Chakra.
All right, Black Chakra.
I think about the plight of Black men in Hollywood, specifically people like Jordan Peele. Over the last couple of years, he showed us that he comes from like the same chops of a Wes Craven, of a John Carpenter. I'm a horror movie fan, so I've been waiting for like Black Masters of Horror to come out. A lot of Black horror films you saw back in the day, with the exception of Tales from the Hood, which was produced by Spike Lee, or written by Spike Lee and directed by John Singleton. A lot of Black horror didn't come from Black directors, but I think about how long Jordan Peele had to like pretend he wasn't like this great writer and just had to do comedy. I'm sure he knows he's funny, and I'm sure comedy's very important to him. But the fact that he had all this like intellectual ideations just shows me sometimes that like Black men got to play this waiting game in Hollywood. And that just really frustrates me sometimes, the plight of people, even when we're successful. So your poem ran into this interesting problem. It's a slam thing. Don't worry. It doesn't exist at showcases or open mics. I mean, it exists, but they're not judging you, so it doesn't matter. Sometimes a judge doesn't agree with your politics. For instance, I find myself in a room, 5 white judges. It's going to be an interesting night for Black Chakra. I mean, I'm usually just going to go emotional, so they have no way to hear my politics to judge me on them. And that usually works for me. I just shift. However, it's a skill that you must develop, learning to read the politics or the possible politics of people listening to your poem. I disagree with so much in your poem. I'm not going to talk about writing or delivery, none of that stuff. I disagree with so many things. That's just like, it was like kids. It's like women having kids, having children. And I was like, I mean, that happened throughout the 60s, the 70s. And then there were so many fathers who weren't taking care of their children back then. And then there were so many women who were like forced into having children specifically because of how they'd be looked at in the times, and like not thinking about those things when you say these lines, it's pretty horrible. And then it's like the 90s wasn't like this. Well, in the 90s, if you had seen Brooklyn then compared to Brooklyn now, I don't think you would say that, considering that's when Biggie was selling crack to pregnant mothers on Fulton. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think more things are filmed now, and I think we live in a different time. So, plus, you know, the unreported thousands of lynchings that have happened from the 1800s to now. I'm not sure if the murder rate was ever actually low. We just don't have the appropriate numbers because so many people were able to hide it better back in the old times. So yeah, I don't mind being preached at, but I felt beaten by the preaching. So I gave you a Jordan Peele Get Out Nope 3, Don't Beat Me with the Bible Belt.
His shot queens, y'all. He here. Listen, Jay Poetry, your voice always resonate with me. I loved it. I was over here nodding. So appreciate your piece. I'm gonna go ahead and pull you backstage, and y'all, we're about to keep it going. Y'all, listen. We almost at the midway point, y'all. This fella was just here, y'all, just last week in the Final Four, y'all. He back again, y'all. Y'all, I don't know. I feel like he stumbled a little bit. Like, I feel like he got a little vengeance. I feel like he got something that he felt like he didn't get. And I feel like he might get it tonight, y'all. I ain't going to do too much. Y'all give it up for the next poet. Put your hands together. Put the flames in the comments for my man, Symbolic. Let's go.
In the post, I was told that Halle being casted as Ariel was cultural appropriation. What? For a fictional character when Hollywood casts white actors to portray a non-fictional black figure on a regular, and the only time we've seen a star is if it was a slave film, unless we're beaten or unless we're eaten. When reality had no problem betraying Jeffrey Dahmer and the victims that he stole trauma upon, and then y'all joked on it. Yeah, we so focused on Ariel's skin color, but y'all was so comfortable using it for TikTok, mocking George's death. You think I forgot? You see, I'd be lying if I didn't say the purpose of this poem wasn't to go viral, how y'all push hate for hobby, trying to use racist means for more ammo if you needed any more ammo to end our lives. And yo, they still think Jesus is white. Yeah, we're the ones being crucifixed. You see, they crews are fake and swap when the design becomes too real to fit. Judges, I have a question. You think if they casted Ursula as black, they would have a problem? No, because we can only be consumed in black pen Oscar success worthy of the Gross Sisters, only consumable in blue, knowing that it was a dig at us being ashy. Ironic that they love us in blue, yet we're taken by those in blue. That's not like a good neighbor. State harm is here. I see the fear of black women as just when they breathe, as if the black death wasn't a polishing insurance, a raid on us like we are ant farms. So don't tell me a black woman being casted as Ariel is cultural appropriation when you cast Casper as Egyptians, and the only thing you seem to get right is putting an AK in a white man's hands when the trigger's off. Wait, something is wrong because white man can't jump. But they sure as hell can shoot. That shots from 5, starting 5, fit the bill of a trailblazer to keep it a buck. White man can't jump, but they target minorities wearing Jordans. Jump man, RJ's warranted as flashy as their guns become everyday kicks. I guess we traded for Knicks. Bloodlust in their handle, that's the only time our flesh piques their interest. So don't tell me a black woman being casted as Ariel is cultural appropriation. When honestly, it's more than that. It's white America continuing to bash black women. And don't they tell you about the origin story of Ariel, how it was watered down? The same way they watered down our black history, leaving us in a deep blue sea of hatred, hoping that we don't break it above? All while they hand us false allyship. Just because you say you're a good neighbor doesn't mean you are one. And just because you don't say just because you say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean you already harm one. And Jake ain't the first black man to have his torso covered in red. And I ain't talking about Polo. The policy insurance switched to blood and white hands. You think that they was mad when Jake turned black? Honestly, they wasn't. So what's your problem with this girl turning over under the sea? Would you prefer her name to be Haley over Holly? I see black women rise above, drowning from in the water, cans up above. So don't tell me that cliche saying black women can't swim. When black women tears carry the weight of the world for us, while y'all busy drowning in Karen's tears as she cries wolf on yet another black man making his temple bulletproof. Get shit shot now, get proof later. Which is upsetting. Because in a post, I was told that Halle being casted as Ariel was cultural appropriation. by a black man in a post by racist white people. When black women tears carried away the world for us.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. That boy Symbolic is back, y'all. Hey, Modesty, you kicking it off. It's on you.
Hey, Symbolic. Thanks again for sharing, dude. That was dope. I'm so happy that I get to sit here. Like, I'm like fangirling over here. Y'all can't pay me no mind up here in my little corner. That's why I get to go first and say whatever I feel in the moment, okay? Symbolic, that was dope. Thank you. I thought it was a very, very smart play, very smart option, especially after Jay Poetry's poem and Chakra's comment. I feel like you read the space very well, and you were able to, in my opinion, take two moments like Jay Poetry's poem and Chakra's comments, find a piece that you had within yourself already and present it and make us feel all of it at once. And I appreciated that, right? So thank you for that. Now, I hate looking up at you like the Jolly Green Giant into like the light going into the heavenly host. It was tough. It made me want to blink extra hard. Like my eyes felt watery. So like right where you are right now, like I want you to like bring me to you and not like you're cowering over me. I think that would have felt better. But again, it's just me. I'm just one perspective watching this. So I'm going to give you a 7. Thank you.
All right, let's go. 7, kicking it off. Kimberly Stewart, it's on you.
Symbolic. I was rooting for you, Symbolic. I was rooting for you. I was excited to see you come back. And yeah, I feel like I don't know if you just wrote that poem recently or something, but I feel like I wish you would have known it better. You knew it good. Or maybe you needed to slow down. There was a couple stumbles in there that was like either just really excited or you're still learning it, you know? I remember doing that. You know, I remember like writing something that I thought was so fire or was so passionate about and kind of stumbling over it. But let me tell you that like, I love it when a poet like has a bone and just ain't about to let it go. And you was not letting that thing about Ariel go. I ain't mad. So with all of that being said, I'm glad you're here. I'm really, really glad you're here. I think you're gonna give a few people a run for their money this season. So I'm gonna give you a 7.4.
All right, 7.4. All right, y'all. We on the Poets Roll. Red Lion, it's on you.
Okay. Okay, maybe it's just me. Doc, I just got a question. Were you done with your poem whenever you sat down?
I was. It was just awkward because it was just standing still. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if y'all wanted me to do poem. I don't like saying poem at the end of a poem. So I just sat there and looked at y'all and I was like, what y'all got for me? Because I'm not saying poem. So I was hoping the camera came up. The camera came up because I wasn't going to say poem. That's not my bop. So I was like,
Okay, because I was like, man, I think Jay interrupted this man, bro. Like, I don't know if he was done or not. Okay. All right. Thank you for clearing that up. Okay. With that being said, you are a professional poet. You are a professional poet. You are a writer. I remember Nina Simone has a quote. We all know it. It's an artist's responsibility to reflect the times, right? Mm-hmm. And I think with a topic, especially when you talk about Black women disparity in general, I think Black Chakra made this comment a couple seasons ago. Like, you know, it's still relevant, so we still need to write about it, right? Mm-hmm. But I love the fact that you can make it as modern as like having this, you know, pretty recent thing with Ariel and Halle, and you know what I'm saying. Then you had the, you know, if she was casted as Ursula, and I was like, yeah, that. You know what? Even though I've heard this type of poem before, the fact that we're able to write it in a current sense, you know what I'm saying, just kind of brings it back for me. So I thought it was a job well done. Yeah, I'm gonna score that at 8.6.
All right, 8.6. All right, Lachelle the shooter.
So honestly, I'm gonna be honest. For me, your performance carried you in this. I think it was a good call for the room, particularly because you do have two other judges. But for me, it wasn't, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not a fan of men telling women type stories. I despise it. I don't like it. Right? It does not work. Especially because the angle you took it in, the ending was the poem, right? That women are dying for you. Talk about what that means to you. Why are you talking about Ariel? Talk about you, especially because we know that men don't often speak up for us. In this moment, what would have been more as protection for me would have been you telling your story and what that means for women, and not you telling mine. So I think in the general consensus of a room, it will work for most women, right? So a lot, generally women like to hear that type of narrative. But like Chakra just put there, you got to be careful because not everyone is. I'm not one of those people. I'm a hard opinion on tell your story. And so I would challenge you to still use that premise, but go back and start from, hey, a Black man questioned Ariel being Black. And this is why I have an issue with that. What is your stake in this? Not mine as a woman. So for me, still, because I think your performance carried, and that is very unique to me, I'm still going to give you the 8 because the writing existed. The writing was there. The performance was there. I just didn't. I wouldn't do it personally. And I'm still comparing you to the other poets here. So I'm still going to give you the 8.
Okay. Go, y'all. That's Lachelle.
Lachelle.
All right.
All right.
Doctor.
Julius Caesar had a campaign, a war that lasted for over a decade, maybe 7 years. I might be exaggerating. Forget me. I'm a little rough on my Roman history. Pompey Magnus at the time was his best friend and was basically in charge of Rome. Pompey was married to Caesar's sister. Caesar's sister died giving birth to Pompey's child, which allowed the bond between them to be broken. And a lot of people felt like Julius Caesar gained too much power to come home. So Pompey is like, hey, don't bring your army up here because you got too many people, and it kind of looked like you want to take over Rome. Julius Caesar, like, I fought for you, I fought for Rome, I'm coming home. So Julius sent some of his people, Mark Antony specifically, and now some say Pompey had nothing to do with it, but Antony and some of his soldiers were attacking the street. They came back and told Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar then took his soldiers across this Italian river called the Rubicon, which spawned 2 idioms. 1, don't cross the line, and 2, the point of no return. Just wanted to give that little minor history lesson. So I foresaw this. I must be Raven-Symoné. I want to talk to you just briefly about slam. 1, in the slam world, people look down on certain things. Now, at an open mic, at regular places, if you do that poem, you're not going to hear this type of response. Why? Because it's like, oh, you're uplifting the Black woman's struggle. That's positive. Yes, but in slam, a little less than a decade ago, probably about 7 years ago, women started to speak up about how they don't like men telling their stories. It's like, oh, you're going to go up there and write about how Black women feel, but there's a Black woman in this slam who probably had that same poem and you just took it from her. So essentially you are now stealing Black women's voices. Now, I don't think that's what you're trying to do. I know that's not your intent. I'm not calling you a thief or anything like that. I'm saying be careful. I had it written on my board. I said, ooh, he don't know that this is culturally in slam a really scary thing to do, and women despise it. And she's right. The majority of rooms you'll do it and you'll be fine. However, you find yourself in a slam. That's when you saw me going like this. I don't know. You find yourself in slam, you're going to catch a lot of side eyes from people who do not like that. So I would say be careful. 2, I am a listener. And more than a listener, I am a practitioner of wordplay. Some things, it's like control it. Don't over wordplay. Over wordplay in a piece that calls for you to over wordplay. Like when Red Lion was doing his piece about setting up another poet. over wordplay is good. It's a battle-esque poem. I'm coming at somebody. I can over wordplay in this because I'm trying to prove to you I'm a better writer. The over wordplay has a place. I didn't think that your wordplay was necessarily bad. We crucifixed. I was like, crucified. But I didn't necessarily think it was bad. But there were places where I wanted you to stick to the narrative. Like, you were telling me about this, but you jumped to police brutality. And I'm like, I get the connection, but you're going on that tangent way too long, because I want to get back to the narrative about how Black women, like that's what I think we should have talked about. If you took a historical route, and let's say the poem starts off where you talk about the character of Ariel being played by a Black person. And then you're going, well, that's weird. Well, because Jesus, y'all changed his color. Because Moses, you changed his color. And see, there you don't have to dive into the Black women's narrative, because you can just talk about how many times that white people have owned our color and changed it for their narrative. So now that it's happening to them, they seem to have a problem with it. So I just think that would have been a better approach. And don't over wordplay. Be careful. But I do like you. I do like you. A little too much curse words, but I do like you. I gave you an 8.3. Be careful.
All right, y'all. Let's shop. Symbolic. I appreciate you.
Symbolic. I appreciate you.
To the back, man. All right. Y'all, we about to keep this thing going, y'all. Listen, this next poet, he swept the whole series. I'm talking about week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, y'all. And not only that, he took both of the clients. Before we bring them out, y'all, I gotta give a shout out. We had a crazy donor that gave us a nice little chunk. Y'all, give it up for the Arts Advocate Executive Director Fund, y'all, in the building. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna spend back, because any amount over $20, you get a special J.O. Speaks with the little logo on it.
Hey.
Right. So you'll have one in the mail coming to you. I appreciate it. But y'all, with no further ado, let's go ahead and keep this thing going. Y'all know him. Y'all know his name. He got him. He love him. He spit him. Give it up for Bars. Let's go.
Psalms 34:17 says, when the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. Which leads me to believe that Jesus might be on the main line ducking my calls. Now, I ain't trying to set it off in here, I swear, but day after day, I pray, and I pray constantly, because every night is a constant stream of constant dreams where I subconsciously step into the role of Constantine, using a particular set of skills to hunt down my demons as every cell in my body fills with shadows, and I'm forced to master the dark arts. But on the bright side, that's not even the darkest part. You see, even when I'm awake, I'm still demon chasing. When you're so used to hitting rock bottom, who really needs a basement? For me, it's just unfortunate foreshadowing of my formidable form being forever forced into a formaldehyde formatted fortress 6 feet underground. Forever, just another soul forever forgotten that was guided by God's glorious grace. I already know the destined destination where my life is headed for, my G. So I phone him when I poem hymns, even though I don't actually know that hymn is a hymn. It's just what we were taught. You know, there's a 50-50 chance if my call gets answered, if the other line will reply with a male voice. In the meantime, his voicemail replies with the same outgoing message to tell me to call back later. Maybe the 10 commandments were a sign that he prefers the text. Maybe my signal just isn't strong enough to reach further enough out inside the galaxy. Maybe I just need to sprint to church more often. I mean, I can't expect to only holler at him at major holidays and think that that would warrant a response, but still, his people are still his responsibility. We are up to our necks telling God to help us, badly crying out for assistance. We are the lost sheep, wandering and wondering where the shepherd is, and wondering why hasn't he questioned where his flock is. This world is wrought with bloodthirsty foxes and graveyards overflowing in overcapacity, with boxes filling up with wool, and not just the wool that's pulled over eye sockets. You see, I've drowned before, but I'm sure that if I were to sink beneath the water again, I would not resurface. So I call my provider. He doesn't answer, but I will not get nervous. I call my provider. He doesn't answer, but maybe it's not on purpose. I call my provider. He doesn't answer. Yet again, not even to say he's sorry. Maybe the number that I've been dialing just, it's not in service. Home.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Hey, Bars is back, y'all. Modesty, it's on you.
So I don't know if I'm wrong, but I know, like, I've noticed every time you spit, before you spit, you always take a moment, and I feel like you're going into like a prayer. So that tells me like what you're doing is you're intentional about how you're presenting that. That means nothing to anybody, but I'm just pointing out the thing that I paid attention to. I actually was looking forward to you doing something different to the room. I felt like, okay, yeah, this is nice if I can say it, I guess, but I feel like we've been in this like spiritual Afro Black space for like, you know, a poem too many, and like I was expecting you to like do something that was going to be like that thing that brought us out of that space, that's kind of shifted the space. So, and it kind of kept me in that same mindset. Like, it was like, I'm hearing everybody do extensions of the same poem, different interpretations of the same poem. And that's what I feel like I've heard these last couple poems, right? So with that, Bars, I'm gonna give you a 7.
All right, let's go. 7. Kimberly Stewart, it's on you.
Listen, Bars and Symbolic stay going back to back. What's up with that? Like, I swear, like the little people picker thingy. Kay gotta go first, and they got to go back to back. And okay, so with saying that, like, there was one week in your season where the two of you did a really good job at being opposite, and this wasn't that. It was a totally different topic, but kind of like I didn't know all the way what I was feeling, but I was like, are we still okay. I'm waiting for somebody to like breathe some for real breath into the room, or like, I have a question for you. Did you plan to do this poem like from the beginning, or did you have some things in your bag?
No, I had a few choices, but I landed on this piece.
Okay. Yeah, I think that like is important, especially in the weeks where you guys are able to pick your poems. Like, this is week 1. It's making the cut. Like, and I remember your week 1 of your season. You laid us out. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like waiting for that again. So yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'm, you know, I'm still a fan, Bars. So I'm not always a fan of everything you do, but I'm a fan of you coming ready and doing your thing. So with that, I'm gonna give you a 7 as well.
All right, 7. All right, y'all, we on that poets roll. Let's see what they do. Red line.
You know, man, I've never had a problem with your writing. I mean, it's solid. It's always good. But I was just kind of bored listening through it. personally, I would have loved if you would have gave more heart to some of the lines that you had at the beginning. You start us off with this really thought-provoking idea of Jesus being on the main line and not picking up a phone call, and then by the time you get toward the end, we start to see it a little bit, but then it's already over, you know. I remember saying in the last season that you were the poet to beat. I remember, and it turns out you were. But I know for a fact that this go around, you're gonna have to bring all of you to what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be good enough to just be a dope writer. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring that performance in there. I struggle to believe what you said, you know, halfway through the poem. You know, and that's just me. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's just like, you know, a me thing. But you know, with that being said, I'll give you an 8.2. It's still a solid piece. I just want you to like make me believe it.
So you said 8.2, Red Lion?
Yeah, 8.2.
Bet. All right. Want to have clarity. All right, Lachelle the Shooter, it's on you.
So first thing, excuse me, something that I'm still working on, and that sometimes people often forget, that slam specifically is just as much about strategy as it is your talent. You did not call the right poem. You just didn't call the right poem. One, you have two judges that you have performed before for that you know that like we like when you in your bag. But then you also got Red Lion and Shaka, who we've already made it very clear, like wordplay, like bars, like all of that. And I know somebody previously talked to you about giving vulnerability. This wasn't the time. We coming out the gate, we making the cut. You go to your strong suit, and you are strong when you in your bag, trying to spit bars, giving me wordplay, giving me heat. Like that is your bag. So first night when you trying to make the cut, you don't get to hold poems. You come out and you make the cut. So I just don't think you chose the right poem for this particular round. To the poem itself, I agree with Red Lion that like you started with something like Jesus on the main line, but you didn't actually go there. So I'm questioning like what was the point of the poem? I don't know what the point was completely. Was it about Jesus or was it about you? Was it about the conflict that you have? And if it was the conflict, why you would give me the real conflict? Like I don't really know what it was. I think the focus was the conflict, but you didn't give me the conflict. Take issue with God. Like take your issue up with him. Speak your piece. Let him know how you feeling. And with your writing style, I think you could have really played on this biblical reference and going at his neck because that's what you do. And you didn't do it this time. So for me, I'm gonna give you a 7.5.
All right, 7.5. All right, Black Chakra, it's on you.
I mean, we really never needed another Matrix film, did we? I know the reason it was made was specifically because Warner Brother had the rights to it, and they were always going to make another one. And the directors kind of made it as like an FU to Warner Brothers. But I don't feel like the fans needed that FU as well. I was okay with how the story ended. The way they didn't even bring Morpheus back, even though he did die in the video game, was a spit in the face. The acting was awful. The action was subpar. It's like in the time where I've seen Keanu Reeves and John Wick, you'd think there'd be better action. You know what I'm saying? And Neo was like, got this weird wave blast. It looked like, I don't know, it looked like mediocrity on screen. It was really awful. I went to the hospital for 3 months and I had ulcers and I kept throwing up. My doctor said I just couldn't stomach how bad that movie was. Yeah. So, bars. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. 1, I judge you harshly. I judge you harshly because you're good. I judge you harshly because you have thousands and hundreds of thousands of views. I judge you harshly because you beasted over this competition last week. I judge you harshly because in your Instagram description, you say that you are the world champion of the, the poetry slam, the online thing. I judge you harshly. So before I give any critique, just know it's because you should win this easily. You understand? All offense to everything I've seen tonight, take it how you want to. You should be dancing on top of them. They should have no space to breathe. A slam like this, I call it a nap. I go up, I do a poem, I sleep in the middle. I don't even take scores because it's a nap. This should be a nap for you, and it's not. And I need you to think about that. Lachelle touched on it. Two things I want to get into. One, don't be dangerous. My coach, Lamar Hill, back when he was coaching the Baltimore team, he taught us there's two things you don't do in the South. You don't disrespect God and you don't disrespect mamas. You go do a poem in the South and you disrespect God or mamas, you lose. That's it. Thus, by proxy, if you give love to God in the South, you give love to mamas in the South, you're usually going to do good depending on the writing and the performance. I say that to say, whenever you do a God poem, you are in a dangerous place. Now, I think you're with poets, writers, people who understand, so you don't have to worry about that here. But in future practices, don't be dangerous when you don't have to. Jesus, you're in a Christian nation, and going at God in a Christian nation is always a dangerous thing to do. I mean, certain rooms, East Coast rooms, West Coast rooms even, you might be fine, but depending on your audience, I mean, J.O. has got lots of Christian people watching. I'm just saying, be careful. There's no need to be that dangerous. Also, you have better poems than this. You don't have to. I like some of the writing, the form poem, the part that you messed up on. Like, I really enjoyed that. But like, don't be dangerous. Don't try to do something new or stuff like that. Also, vulnerability is not telling me that you're hurting. Vulnerability is telling me why. Always remember that. It will help you. I do not want to know, hey man, I'm in pain. But you know what my pain feels like? My pain feels like rain and rain falling. No. I don't care. I do not care. Tell me why you're in pain. Tell me the source. That's what I relate to, the narrative of the human being spitting in front of me. The final thing I will say is become a stickler to wordplay, meaning become someone who studies it not just in battle rap, but in spoken word poetry. I did hear the main line come back in the phone double entendres. I heard the Sprint. I heard the other one. I heard it. I heard the Galaxy one. And listen, that being said, those might be a dash cliche by now. Specifically, Marshall Soulful Jones has a poem where he does all of those things. This is why studying poetry is extremely important, so that you can know what has been done and what hasn't been done. I did not hate the poem, however, and I do give you credit. It wasn't perfectly memorized, but at least you're not reading off phone and you're actually trying to give us something new. You make it to next week. Don't make this mistake. Go hard, bury everybody. It shouldn't be a competition for you. I gave you a don't be dangerous. Why? 7.7. Reel it in.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Boys, you did your thing, man. Hey, they gave some great feedback. Yo, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next week, yo. We're going to put you backstage, and we're going to keep this thing going, yo. Much love, much love, much love. Hey, y'all, we almost at the end, y'all. We about to close out a little bit. We got about a few more poems to go.
Wait, J.O., before we close, I'm just gonna put up the offering plate. Just one more game.
Okay.
Listen, it's the All-Stars, and we got some things going on. So y'all hit that Cash App. You know what I'm saying? Send your dollars, your coins, your card, the plastic. Don't send that over to J.O. Speaks, y'all. And keep this culture going. I'm playing and I'm joking around, but honestly, when I just sat here and listened to all of the judges' critiques and the passion that is behind the culture of what it is that we're doing here, it really touches me, and I'm hoping that it is touching you all up there as well and giving y'all a better thing to do on a Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Central. So go ahead and hit his Cash App, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody who sent one through.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah, we're about to keep this thing moving. We're about to keep it going. Like I said, this young lady, she took her serious. She played, what's the word? She played coy the whole time, and then at the final, she just ripped, y'all. So I'm excited to see what she does tonight. Listen, with no further ado, put your hands together for none other than Lenora Elaine.
Five things that happened when he held me. 1, there are rules he put on love that make me feel caged. I feel love is a wildfire that reveals what God made. 2, he held me, and I realized why there are beautiful women who write sad love songs in moments like these. They leave you with memories so heavy that loneliness burns a fire in your belly. It felt like his kiss, all focused, meticulous. And feelings this good make you forget your reality, make you doubt your dreams, make you ice cream, sweet and sloppy, and all of our hands have a good mistake, make you forget your mother's words and all your mother's tears, and you know you should wait. But you give yourself on a silver plate anyway. He held me. And I remember too many sad love songs. He held me. And I tried to feel uncreated solar systems in his kiss. I tried to feel the kind of grip that makes you overstand that a future exists. The culture in this gift makes my able body bend like bending knees, bending to pray to God, to remember. He is just a man, just the kind that holds me and justifies the beauties who sing sadness in their hymns. 3, sometimes I wonder what intimate conversations my grandmother had with my grandfather before he decided to leave. Like, how did he react when she had her heart on his sleeve and told him all the things she wanted to be? Did he believe? See, I feel like a person can only love you when they see you on fire, running wild, naked, and praising God at the same time. Maybe if we allow ourselves to be a son, love will come. Or maybe I just need to understand what makes a man run for. If I introduce you to my world, will it scare you? 5, the skin. The skin just holds my soul. It ain't so big sometimes, so sometimes it can't tell you what it wants to say. So sometimes the skin can only say, I love you, but my soul knows a different tongue. It has faced 1,000 suns. It has never burned once. What it wants to say might make you stay, might make you run.
Let's go, Lenora Elaine, y'all. Okay, Modesty. You kicking this one off. Let's go.
Okay, yay. Thank you, Lenora. That was awesome. Hooray. I love what your voice does. Like, I love like the whole little, I don't know if you're singing to me or we like dancing on a cloud. I don't know if I skateboarded against the sun. I don't know what happened at band camp, but I be feeling good when I be hearing you talk. It'd be great. The poem to me, it sounds like a few of your poems put together. And I could be wrong, but like there were a few little lines that I felt like I've heard in your work before, in some of your work before, maybe from the previous season. And like, I don't know, it was good. It was good. I enjoy you. It was good. Then we had a couple of mishaps in there. So I'm going to give you a 6.
All right, 6. All right, Kimberly Stewart.
Lenora. Listen, the comments been waiting, yo. They've been talking about you from jump. So I got some feedback. Why was this a number poem? Why? I am so upset that this was a number poem. It didn't need it. Like, what? you have such a way with your words and your, first of all, performance, hands down. If it was just on performance, like go ahead and give you the trophy now, because you bring everybody into your world trying to figure out whew, and we don't know what you're going to say next, regardless of whether we recognize your words or not. We don't know where you're going to put them. But what we do know is it's going to make us feel a certain way when they get there. So I was disappointed that you took such a complexity and put it in such a simplistic situation of this number thing. But I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm here for you. I am. I'm biased and I'm here for you. Because you make me, like, I was waiting. Like, you make me, you're like bars. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was waiting for bars and I was waiting for you. And so, and although I didn't love that part of it, you didn't disappoint. And so, for that, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hit you with a 7.7.
All right, 7.7. All right, red line is on you.
Well, first, Kim stole my critique. And you know, whenever we do writers workshops, I always tell people about at least I call it fluff. And fluff is initially whenever you write something in order to kind of get to the next line, you don't really need it there, but you just kind of write it because you need something there. So like we call that fluff in the works, at least in my workshops, right? So yeah, the numbers to me were fluff. You didn't really need them, you know. I think the poem stands alone fine without them. It wasn't my favorite piece that I've heard from you, but it wasn't a bad piece of poetry. I still very much believe that your voice belongs in somebody's movie. I believe that your writing definitely belongs in somebody's script, somebody's screenplay. And the way in which you delivered, it was strange because at first I didn't really understand the emotion you were going for at the beginning, but as we progress forward with the poem, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what it is. But I mean, I'm not gonna talk your head off because I know Lachelle and Black got some stuff to say. But yeah, man, that's an 8.1 for me.
All right, 8.1. All right, Lachelle, the shooter, it's on you.
Yeah. So just to articulate specifically why you don't need the numbers, right? What the numbers do is they break the emotion, right? Now I have to stop and catch up with you. If you mess up a number, I'm gonna pay attention to the number. I'm trying to keep count. Don't make people do that. You got to blend it together so that the emotions continue to flow through the poem. The minute you add that number, you cut the emotion. Because now I got to process something new. Because now you got a new number. So maybe this is something completely different. Maybe it's not. Don't mess up the emotion of the poem, especially if you're going to perform the way you do. You perform well. So don't mess up your performance by chopping it with these numbers. So I just wanted to make sure you understood exactly why people are telling you don't put these numbers in the poem. So that was that. But otherwise, like you've already been told, the performance is good. The only thing that I want you to be mindful of is that sometimes you transition into this very slam poet mode. And there were certain things in your tonality, especially at the end, that I'm like, why we did that uptake? I don't know why we did that, like high pitched kind of squilly type of thing. I don't know why I did that. So just be mindful of like those certain tonalities, because base case, you already have a very rich voice and you already command attention. So be mindful of those little tonalities, because we're already so in tune to you that those little things can make a difference, particularly in that performance and how we're registering. But otherwise, for me, I'm gonna give it a 7.9.
All right, 7.9. Solid. All right, Black Chakra. It's
on you.
Pro wrestling is an extremely interesting sport. For me, it's always about the invention of a move. The abdominal stretch was invented by a wrestler named Huber Schneider. Lou Thesz, who's often known for the Lou Thesz press, is when you jump on somebody and punch them. Lou Thesz actually invented the powerbomb, but he invented the powerbomb by accident. He was actually going for a pile driver and lifted the person too high and dropped him on his back. This move would then be revolutionized by wrestlers like Vader, and then destroyed by wrestlers like Kevin Nash, who was doing it to hurt people. Let's be real. As a kid, some of my favorite finishers were Spear, Goldberg fan as a child, not as an adult. I have a brain. Super kick, very simple in motion. And the diamond cutter, jump, grab the neck, perfect, very simplistic, thing. It's a throwback, but it's good. That being said, my favorite wrestling finisher of all time is the Canadian Destroyer. Now I know what you're thinking. What is the Canadian Destroyer? Well, the Canadian Destroyer, in simple description, is a front flip pile driver. But if you're in the ring, one man must front flip and the other man must back. So I like the move, not just because it looks amazing. If you've never seen a Canadian Destroyer, please go look it up after this. It's not just because it looks amazing, but because it takes perfect cooperation between both the wrestlers to accomplish it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with your poem. I just thought you should know that. So the first thing I wrote on my board, because I loved the opening of your poem, I said, "Don't F this up." That's what it says on my board. I'll prove it to you. See? That's the first thing I wrote. I was like, "Don't F this up." And you did. There were some lines that stumble did not help you. And then the list poem. Lamar Hill was my coach, and Lamar Hill hates number poems. He's like, if the number don't gotta be there, don't put it there. It's pointless. It's just there, and it's become so formulaic in slam, and number poems make me think of Button, and Button triggers me and disgusts me and makes me want to beat up white supremacists. That being said, I did like your poem. I don't care what nobody else said. I enjoyed the writing a lot. Even with your mess up, which seems to be the theme of the night, I still enjoyed your poem more than everybody else's. And a 6 is harsh. A 6 is very harsh. So I'm going to give you an upside down 6. I give you a 9.
Let's go. Chakra with the 9. Let's go. Lenore Elaine, I told you she was coming back for a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put you back. I appreciate you, sis. Good job. All right, y'all. We're about to keep this thing going. We got about 3 more poets, y'all. Listen, this next poet is about to come to the stage. She razzle-dazzled you with her words, y'all. Some of these words, I feel like she was just freestyling, like poetry just breathes out of her. Go ahead and get your pen. I don't know if she got numbers, but she is called the Word Mortician. Y'all put your hands together. Put the flames in the comment for the Word Mortician. Let's go.
One, 2, 3. Take a deep breath in. And slowly exhale. Only because representation matters. The word is misspelled, but the concept of being able to spell you back to a place of focus would allow you to understand how to notice when you are in the space of greatness. These poets have put together such arrangements that make me feel like I have been waiting just for this evening, just to enjoy the way in which we are exchanging, allowing our manifestations to be spoken, so those in agreement can be an inclusion of knowing that this illusion was just a contusion of our bruised minds until we would write. Put these pens to pads and fight past the ways in which we would face life and death. And every dash in between, this track always seems to be run by those who bleed lest we allow ourselves to speak more, because we know what it is to hold your breath too long, to the point that you forget that you're not in control, you might actually be suffocating. This is a way in which we are chasing our fate, to know that sometimes it's just in a place of being reminded that you can still breathe. You should do so gratefully, graciously, so open to understand the gratitude that you experience is just because you are not guaranteed another. So for those who allow themselves to bleed on the mic, you have to get to a place to where you take note of the fact that you have an opportunity to speak life, as opposed to continuously talking about the things that you have overcome. Won't you speak about the things that you will, to a point to where there are no longer mountains to climb, but more so hills. Put yourself in a position where you understand the power of your tongue, because the thrill is being able to control the tip so easy, because you know the picture that you paint, they can see. Thank you.
Let's go. Word Mortician. All right. Short and sweet. I love it. Modesty. It's on you.
Okay, I enjoyed that. Thank you, Word Mortician. That was great. You freestyled that, right? Because this is your thing, and I just be wanting to make sure that I be right when I be right, and I be wrong when I be wrong. I felt like it was your craft is such a unique craft that it is a skill to be able to do it. Oftentimes when I hear when I hear you go, like sometimes I get lost. I get lost because I've been trying to keep up with like where we started and where it may be going. It feels like and it could be my adult ADHD. Again, listen, it's just one man's opinion, so don't pay me no mind. But like, so I find it hard to keep up in some spaces, or I have to start over in my mental and then go back to the beginning of it. So with that being said, I appreciate that it was short. I'm going to give you a 6.
All right. 6, kicking it off. All right. Kimberly Stewart, it's on you.
Word Mortician.
Oh.
I have a hard time with you, and I'm trying to be over it. Like, I really appreciate the fact that you are a freestyler, because we've had freestylers in the competition in the past, and they have fallen so flat, and you don't fall flat. But you also, it's like you don't know what you started with. You don't know what, you have no direction. So as long as you stay within like a word, I think you feel like you're still in the same poem. Whereas for the person listening, like you started this poem being inspired and you ended this poem preaching at them to what they're talking about. And I was like, how we get here? Like, I thought we liked them. We don't like them. Like, I was literally having a conversation in my head. Like, I thought we was good. We was inspired to be here tonight. We not. Okay. So, like, your word, like you have words for days and you put them together. I just don't know if you know exactly what you said or what you're talking about. And so I get left like, I don't really have much to say. Now I've seen you do it better. And it makes it hard for you to even be strategic in the fact of how you can come in and, like, with the way you're able to string words together, you should be able to come and mop everybody up. But if you don't know what you're talking about, or where you started, or where you're at, because you're trying to figure out where you're about to go, you can't do that. So, just because you don't fall flat and because you can string a whole bunch of words together, I'm going to give you a 7 for your effort, but honestly, that's me being gracious.
All right, let's go. 7. Yeah, we're on the Poets Row. Here we go. Red Lion, it's on you.
Okay. So a couple things. One, I must publicly apologize to you for the season you competed in, because I remember, because like, you know, we know, you know, you're a freestyler. We know how dope in person the freestyle is. And I told you you would have a hard time progressing forward in the competition, freestyling, especially whenever you have to stay on props. And you proved me wrong. You proved me wrong, because you made it a lot further. And so I have to apologize, because I was like, man, I don't know if she's dope, but I don't know if this is gonna make it. With that being said, this is a different season, and the poets are a lot better than they were, you know, prior. These are the best of the best, and I think I feel like my comment actually holds a little bit more weight in this one. You might have a extremely difficult time. Now, I will say this: I can't do what you do. I'm just, you know, the way my dyslexia works, like words don't come to me like that. I literally have to sit. I have to craft out. I have to revise. I have to edit. I have to do all that stuff, right, just to make sure that it does what it needs to do. Yeah, so I am not a freestyler. So I have limited knowledge of how that type of mind works. But poetry, I know, has to be thoughtful. You know what I'm saying? I know that it has to be thought provoking, and I know that whenever you freestyle, it's hard to do that. I think that you try to do it. You know what I'm saying? I think you tried to nail a topic whenever you were discussing the other artists and the impact that they can make, but it didn't land as good as I believe it could have had you sat down and, you know, crafted something out. With that being said, I mean, it's a 7-8 for me.
All right, 7.8. Solid. All right, Lachelle.
Yeah. Finding out you were a freestyler did not work in your favor for me. Because it's again one of those things in terms of strategy, right? When you can freestyle and you ain't coming in with no poems and you ain't limited to the poems you got in your pocket, I feel like your opportunities are so much wider, where you get to really read the room, hone in on the room, and really identify what it is that's giving and scoring well and doing well. And you also get to listen to all of the other critiques to know how you can come in and really maneuver to make your poem stand out. So hearing that you were a freestyler didn't work in your favor for me. So yeah, so that didn't help. This poem too, when you did it, and I think Kim mentioned it a little bit, is another one of those be careful notions too, where you had a moment in there where you were specifically talking about, hey, don't talk about kind of like those trauma type of things, right? Be careful with the power of your tongue. That in the slam space, like Chakra mentioned earlier about some cultural things, it's like, hold that thought, hold that thought. Especially because one, we don't want to police people's work, but two, also when people are coming through and talking about trauma, people make a choice. So to critique it in a slam is like, well, you decided you was gonna put this trauma poem up here that you didn't have to put up here. You could have gave humor, right? Like people win with humor, with bars. Chakra ain't gonna never make you cry, but he gonna win, right? Roddy just been clean sweeping. She gonna give you humor, right? There's so many poets who've proven that we don't need trauma, so we don't want people to keep resting on this trope that you gotta always be sad in your poems. So when people attack that, is definitely a thing that triggers people in the slam space. So another one of those, be careful for everybody else who's like in that slam, be careful when you step out into that slam words, that there are some cultural things that do naturally get dinged because people just like, we ain't trying to hear that. But that's it on my critique. In terms of your score, for me, I'm gonna give it a 7.
All right, 7. I got you, Lucille. All right. It's on you.
I think it's important to note the cultural relevance of the Star Wars series. I feel like Star Wars hit a vein when it first came out. I mean, it's not to say that Star Wars was never political. Star Wars is extremely political. I mean, at the essence, you have a narrative that closely resembles the Nazi movement, even though if you watch it in a different manner, you know, James Earl Jones voices Darth Vader, so you get the idea that this black man is leading all these stormtroopers, which are little white people, and then this blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy comes stop him named Luke Skywalker. And I had my problems with that when you think about it kinetically, but, you know, it's a good movie series. My problem with the newer Star Wars films, however, is Rey Palpatine Skywalker. I don't feel like her character went through a struggle. The thing that makes a true character is watching them struggle. You know, Luke Skywalker, he won one space battle in the first movie, and Obi-Wan Kenobi got killed. In the second movie, he tried to go hard in the paint. He got his hand cut off, and then he got sunned. Like literally, Darth Vader was like, "Nah, homie, you my son. I'm sunning you." So we got, by the time he became the Jedi in Return of the Jedi, one of my favorite Star Wars movies personally, it meant something. Rey Skywalker, it felt like she just mastered things too fast, and for me that kind of like ruins the movie. It's like I want the hero's journey, because if everything is easily obtainable, then how can I enjoy the journey? Yeah. So I didn't hate that. To Angel Wing off of what Red Lion said, I do know about freestyling. I can freestyle, I could freestyle, and even I don't do it in slam. That should tell you something. I can freestyle better than a lot of people that you know, and I don't do it in slang. Another thing that I teach in my classroom, Professor Hat, Papa Chakra will often teach that if your freestyle is amazing, then your written should be an apocalypse. One hand washes the other, both hands wash the face. The more you write, the better of a freestyler you are. The better of a freestyler you are, specifically because how many words you will now have available to you, because you have kept up the art of writing. The better writer you are is because if you can think of words off the top of your head, well, when you take time to think and actually put them together, you should expand the thought and be a much better writer. I truly agreed with Kimberly when she was like, you freestyle in a manner that seems that if you actually wrote and memorized the poems, you would actually kill. So I think if you're going to slam, because this is all conjecture that matters in the slam space. If you decide to leave here and never do slam again, or if you don't care about what you're saying, that's cool too, because you know you're a human being. You don't have to care. But if you're in the slam space, you should take that critique very serious. Because people could just be like, yo, you suck, stop freestyling. That's not what you're hearing. What you're hearing is, no, you're good at it, but go right so you can organize those thoughts. I didn't hate what I heard. Thank you. But also the performance. Yo, eyes are the window to the soul. When I look at you in your eyes, I'm walking into your house. I'm making a space there. So if anything, I want to be looked at. And the good thing about being on camera is you don't necessarily got to look at me, you got to look at that camera, but I want to be seen. I couldn't see your eyes. So if I can't see your eyes, I don't know if you care about what you're saying, because that's where I know the poem is real, in the eyes. So I gave you I didn't hate that 7.4, but stop freestyling, please, eye contact.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. Hey, Word Mortician, you did your thing. I appreciate you. Always a pleasure. I'm going to slide you back. We're about to keep this thing going. All right? Y'all, listen. Some of y'all talking about Chakra for president, but I don't know. If you don't want to vote for Chakra, then maybe this next poet will have your vote. Y'all know her. We just saw her last week. She killed. Put your hands together. Y'all, she back. Give it up for none other than Madam President.
Proud. P-R-O-U-D. People, my peers, it is with pleasure and pride the privilege has been placed upon me to pronounce us premium, to proclaim us as prime, perceived to be pointless pieces on this planet, but we paved it. paved our paths, pushed past pain and plunged into poisonous predicaments, producing pinnacles, pyramids, peaks. We will persist and progress. We postulate the profit of planted seeds because we were permitted by none other than God. My people possess power. We must be proud, proud. P-R-O-U-D, rather rash, raw, or reckless at times, remember? Unreasonable, unruly, rushing into resolution, ready for a road of riddles that is our reality. A ride replete with rhetorical reasoning of self, revolving doors, resistant roadblocks, restless nights, and rude awakenings. Our rehearsals, recitals, rituals have rescued us from rivals. Redeem and reclaim your rate. Render yourselves rampant with righteousness, as we are as rare as rubies and rich with rectitude. We have every reason to be proud, proud, P-R-O-U-D, outstanding, outlasting, owning the opportunity as it is ours, only ours. Arting our own opulence, offered only ordinary, but output extraordinary. The odds were never in our favor. Open doors were occasional, objectives occluded with obstacles, but we knew it was obtainable. Our occult knowledge ordained from Christ, our being from olfactic to optic is orphic. The omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent has chosen us. We must be proud, proud, P-R-O-U-D, us. It was us that were unequipped with useful utensils, so we invented them. Unsuited, but unstoppable, unfit, but not unable, undermined, but unexpectedly conquerors. Our umber skin united is unequivocally strong. We may always be unnamed, uncelebrated, and our utilities may be unknown, but together we will never be unheard or unnoticed. Uproariously and in unison, utter good fortune over our futures. Use us, Lord, as ultimate vessels of your unnatural abilities, as we are unimportant without you, but urgent with you, unstable without you, but unencumbered with you. We are undeniably proud, proud, P-R-O-U-D, down in dark places, driven to delusions, but we dictate doom's defeat. We dance in domination of dog days, depart from discombobulations, disconnect from distractions, discard of demons. Diligent work needs to be done as we diverge into different dynamic directions, but your domain will keep you docked. Deem yourselves the deeds of any district you may claim. Don't doubt yourselves. Be dangerous. Dare to be distinctly disparate. Be proud. Proud. P-R-O-U-D.
Yo. Modesty, before we come to you, y'all, I got a shout out. Hey, gotta do this, yo. Ari, appreciate you. Appreciate the love. Much love. Y'all, we gotta score this. This is crazy. Modesty, it's on you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Ma'am, I'm going to give you an 8.4.
Let's go. 8.4. All right. Kimberly Stewart.
New poet, who this? Who this? What? Where you been? Like, I'm low-key mad at you, yo. Why you let bars come and dog walk you last season? What is happening? What the deuce? What's wrong with you? Girl, you don't never come in the room with Kimberly Stewart as a whole woman and let some dude dog walk you and you can do that? What? Get out of here. Oh, I'm so mad at you. I'm sitting here looking at the screen like, who is this? Oh, it's a 9.
Let's go. 9. All right, y'all. We on that poets roll. Red Lion, it's on you.
Yeah. First off, I always love hearing that. Like it's because it's like a combination of the I think it's called an acrostic poem. Whenever you're spelling out a word and then you combine it with the alliteration, because you're taking each and every letter and then you're making alliterations to the letters. So yeah, man. Yeah, it's always a solid poem. I've heard it so many times, and it's great every time. I also feel like it's a flex poem because a lot of people don't know all them words like that. So you know what I'm saying. I just feel like you just get just because, you know what I'm saying, just because you can, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm like, okay, rambunctious rhetoric, you know, all these extra R words that you don't really need, but you're gonna use them anyway because you can. So yeah, I dig it. 9.2.
9.2. Let's go. All right. Michelle the Shooter, it's on you.
I appreciate you listening. You like, because I know you got a whole other slew of poems in your pockets, but you clearly was listening when we've been talking about strategy, and that you have these bar poets and alliterations and wordplay, all of those things. It's a great call. It was a really phenomenal call. So good job. Kudos on that. I don't really have much feedback for that poem. I liked it the first time I heard it. I still like it today. I'm going to give you a 9.3.
All right, 9.3. Let's go.
Let's go.
Black Chakra, it's on you.
Black Chakra, it's on you.
Super Sentai was a very popular show in Japan. It was a show about these martial artists who had the power to turn to different types of beings, colored beings and stuff like that. A brother named Saban saw this show and thought it'd be a great idea to bring it to America. But how can American kids relate to Japanese actors and fighters and artists? So he said, let's keep all the fight scenes and just take all the dialogue scenes and replace them with American actors, and we would know that show as Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers specifically. Morphin because they wanted something to sound like Transformer, but also, if you notice, it has the same syllables as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can think of it the same thing. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So they really wanted it to be the experience that encapsulates everything that children like. And since Transformers was popular and children seemed to like robots, Power Rangers had that. And then, you know, the teenage element of the Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's what Power Rangers had. And it really did tap into an interesting vein of the youth. I mean, it blew up. I mean, the toy sales were ridiculous. I had a lot of toys, still do. I'll show you some in the next round. That being said, I personally feel like the Power Rangers took a dip when it came to the Turbo season. And it's not because of the writing. I mean, what's the writing of a Power Ranger show, really? You know, fight, Rita, monsters, putties. It's the toy design. The way it's sold is a lot, specifically because when you're selling giant robots, that's one thing. But when you're trying to sell kids, the Turbo Zords were like cars and trains. That was played out in the 90s. So that to me is when Power Rangers took its dip. I think it's been some great seasons, Dino Thunder being extremely reputable, Ninja Storm being excellent. But Turbo is when we started to dip. So I've never heard you before. And all them capping for you really hard. Listen, I'm going to give you the score I think you deserve. But that shirt is a prop. Don't be wearing no Proud shirt while doing a poem called Proud. But yeah, you had the best presentation and the clearest writing, the best performance. You didn't stumble. It seemed like, yeah, you get a 10. Go enjoy your night.
Yeah, so your background is dope. I forgot to say that. I forgot to say that.
The background is crazy how it merges in with the brick wall. Like I was all over it. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was a moment for me.
Yeah, definitely be careful with props next time though, because that's a whole 1 point deduction in the slate, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So,
Shaka, we don't want to see your Power Rangers, bro. Stop it. Stop it. Like, why are you?
All right, Madam President, we're gonna put you backstage. Appreciate you. I'm proud. Let's go.
He got the whole
All right, y'all.
costume.
We down to the last poet. Before I bring this last poet up, yo, I just had a random thought. Yo, Black Chakra is now Papa Chakra. With talks like this, I can only imagine. He has a daughter too. Yo, I could just imagine these lectures that are going to come when things happen. She just needs to be ready. She is going to be very knowledgeable of a lot of things in life just on her doing anything in life. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it, y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with us. We done made it to the last poet tonight, y'all. Ooh-wee. Y'all, Almighty Luck is dope, y'all. He coming up. His style was so unique. He evolved within his series. I haven't heard him since, y'all, so I am excited to hear him tonight, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, we're down to the last poet. We're about to go home for the night. We're about to go ahead and wrap this up. Put your hands together for Almighty Love. Let's go.
I know this is dangerous, but what do y'all believe in? The one above all who wrote stories in between pages to illustrate he's the creator of everything marvelous? Or do you have a poly relationship with your beliefs? Going to certain ones where you need a certain type of belief, a goddess that led women to become queens, giving birth to nations, deities that master the elements of mythology, the gravity of science that structured the universe, or our ancestors that live on through our memories, giving us guidance through an object like an avatar. I've been told it's entirely up to you. I wish that was true. We often believe in things that we are born into, or should I say forced into. Generations of belief being stripped away, layers of mental being disfragmented and reconstructed by former manipulators, making the devoted followers of something that was beaten into us, not something came to believe in. I remember simple services that made out to be lectures. Had questions, had to let fester, because one more gesture be looked as a gesture. A fool who questioned a higher power, but the higher power allowed many things that was questionable. Sitting back and watching like his lifetime, only making a decision at the end of someone's lifetime, after it's from a lifetime, dealing out hardships to never everyone else's lifetime. I feel like you don't get caught out enough. Because people are scared you will cut their lifetime. But I feel like this is a conversation that should have been had lifetimes ago. Dialogue between creator and creation. He gave us flaws on our designs and left us with the ramification, the devastation, not only within us, but within nature. We played our part, but you neglected us, giving us a planet when we couldn't even handle an apple. We then needed disciplinary action after putting another human being in shackles became casual. You're liable for our guidance, but all we hear is silence. Telling us to pray to you. But that's like speaking things to existence, not actually helping, but we still praise you when miracles happen. Like we didn't put ourselves in position to be favorable. You made us so delusional. Asking for tithes, when you sabotage, ever since Jesus was tied to a cross, showing nepotism. Our Father who art in heaven is a deadbeat. The only kids we have things to offer. Only our dead stand in front of your gates, pleading our case that our sins was due to abandon us. That trauma grew within us as we looked for closure that never came. As we take accountability, you have to as well. Our faults are one of the same. A stain that blemishes your legacy, but this isn't to shame. This is just to say, we all need to do better before we lose this planet.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, y'all. This the last poet. Hey, y'all know the Cash App is J.O. Speaks. Make sure y'all send a little bit. Hey, Modesty, it's on you.
I'm sorry, that song just got stuck in my head for a second, y'all. It has nothing to do with anything. Almighty Love, listen, I appreciate a few things. I appreciate we are not in your bedroom anymore. I am so excited to meet a different part of your house. Thank you for taking me on a little date. Cool. I appreciate you stopped and I don't want to be rude. I don't want it to sound rude. Like the whine thing that you were doing with your voice before, I appreciate that you stopped that. Even the do-rag change from the do-rag to the hat, like that was refreshing. Your whole ensemble, I appreciated what I seen this evening. I feel like, you know, it just reminded me of you were trying to make me have this emotion instead of presenting the emotion that you felt, or like, I don't know, like, or that you were trying to get from this piece. I felt like you were trying to make me feel it, but I didn't feel it. But I like the things that you were saying. Some of the things were really good. Yep, I'm gonna give you a 7.
All right, 7 for Almighty. Let's go, Kimberly Stewart. It's on you.
Oh,
Sound, you sound.
I don't have much. I don't know. I don't know how we got here. I'm like, yeah, it's not a good place to be. Like, we just got floored by like Madam President. And I don't even know what just happened. I don't remember anything. I didn't hear. I don't know. I felt like only thing I remember is really like I remember during your season, look, they kept telling you don't poet at me, and I felt really poeted at. So yeah, I felt like you were trying to direct me with your motions and I was like waiting. I was waiting for like I felt like you were like about to deliver a like I was waiting for the knockout punch. You looked like you was delivering. So I'm gonna give that a 5.
All right, 5. All right, y'all. We on the Poets Row, kicking it off. Red Lion didn't change backgrounds on us. It's on you, Red Lion.
Yeah, I wanted to come outside because it feels great, and it doesn't normally feel good in Houston.
Let's go.
So it's really comfortable out here. I'll say this because I know in the other season, Chev mentioned, and he made the comment, don't put me. And even though it did still feel like to an extent you were, I feel like you made a conscious decision to try to change. And I feel like you're in a place where you're trying to like navigate and figure out what that is. So one, like I do hear the difference. I do hear you like trying to navigate through it, and it does sound different, right? So even though it still kind of like has that, yeah, man, you're growing, and I think that's dope. Yeah, I wasn't it reminds me of that long stint we had with everybody kind of talking about Black struggle and everything, so it just kind of brought me back to that place. I don't really have too much to say about the piece itself. It just what I'm saying, it was cool to me. But yeah, man, that being said, it's a 7.4 for me.
All right, 7.4. All right, LaSalle the Shooter, it's on you.
A couple of things. One, the rocking back and forth, distracting. I mean, it was very distracting, especially once you added in the hands. Recognize that in performance choreography, it also adds or takes away to the effect of the poem. So it's something that you do have to be mindful, right? What is your body doing on stage? You want to be natural, but you also want to make sure that it doesn't deter from the performance. And I was just a little distracted watching you rock back and forth in conjunction with the hands. So just a little something to be mindful in the performance space. Also repetition. You had a stint there with a lot of repetition and usage on this lifeline. You gotta be real careful. Repetition, when we want to play with repetition, we want to make sure that it's adding to the poem. In this case, it did not add anything. It seemed like you just didn't know what word to use, that you kept coming back to it. So that's something you want to like take a look at within that poem. And then lastly, the story here, I don't think you connected the metaphor or the story that you were trying to tell, right? This transition between like motherhood, then God, then ending on the planet. And I'm like, I get how those things could potentially tie together, but you didn't make the connection for me in this particular story. So I don't know, especially because I don't have it in front of me, but there's some through lines here that you have to add to be able to transition through those 3 phases that they do connect, but they didn't in this particular piece. So that's all that I have for me. I'm going to give this a 6.5.
All right, 6.5. All right, Black Chakra, it's on you.
So I was sitting deciding, is this my time to give y'all a breakdown of why Eminem's music doesn't work in the modern social atmosphere that we exist in? And I decided not to. So I'm going to use the time that I'm talking now to at the end of every slam, I'm going to give y'all one of my movie ideas. So here's my pitch. There's a movie, I want to be Jordan Peele. I want Jordan Peele to direct it because I want to be one of his films, but I want to write it. It's called Never. So you know how Jordan Peele likes to have like black narratives in his films, right? So my movie Never is a play off of Peter Pan. But you see, Peter Pan was written and shared with us in a different way. It's actually about a demon called the Panchasm. When a child is murdered too brutally, the spirit comes back and goes through windows and takes the children of the people who killed it. And that happens mostly in African culture. That's where I'm going to write it and stuff like that. So, and it's called Never. And so the movie is about this creature child who will fly through windows and grab people, and people be trying to protect their children. And he's going in and just boom, boom, and stuff like that. And, you know, you can use police brutality as like the offspring of the movie and stuff like that. And, you know, and it would fit with his theme of movies. It'd be Get Out, Us, Nope, Never. So that's my idea for a horror movie. I'll be giving y'all a pitch for a different movie. You know, I actually have a poetry musical. It's not a musical, it's more poetry, but it's a poetry version of Grease. It's called Sheen, and it just features all Black people. I just want to put those out there. Like, that's what I think that's very important. So, while I'm transforming this Megazord, let's have a conversation about a couple things. My brother. One, none of them are very clear in what exactly was wrong with the piece, so I will help you figure it out. So there's no clarity. The personal narrative that you're trying to say, woman is God, this, that, space, all that, you know, sometimes just saying what the poem is about isn't a problem either. I once had a brother come to me. He was writing a poem about his father being a book and stuff. And I was like, cool. And then he got to the middle of the poem. He's like, but my father has many chapters unfilled. And I said, what does that mean? And he said, well, it just means he has so much life to live. I said, good. That's the next line. My father has so much life to live. Why do you feel like your father has so much life to live? Well, because there are so many things that he hasn't experienced. I said, yes. Write that down. You see how sometimes you can write in a manner where the poetry stands out, but the message of the poem is lost. Remember, poetry is a journey. You have taken my hand like Aladdin on the magic carpet and said, do you trust me? I take your hand and you take me on the journey, meaning you have to dance me through whatever the subject is. I was very unclear on what the subject of the poem was through most of it because you're not sharing any personal narrative that can help me connect. I don't hear bad writing. Because if there was bad writing, you have a much lower score, and I tell you it was bad writing. Bad writing isn't the problem. Relatability. Don't write yourself out of the poem. You understand? Like, you are the important part of the poem. Oh, this is my favorite part. It comes open. It's a blast. Anyway, you are the most important part of the poem. Don't take yourself out of the narrative. And I feel like you are what's missing from the narrative. The last thing I will tell you about on this very, very, very free slam lesson is called the pendulum. The pendulum is a term that I created. See, a pendulum swings. You know, you got pendulums like on clock, but you also have the pendulum torture device, which was popularized in medieval times, but also made popular again during the Spanish Inquisition. What it does is it's a blade, and depending on the momentum, it can graze you or it can slice you in half. Poets can be a pendulum. The poet who came before you sliced. She swung the pendulum as hard as possible. I mean, I'm definitely the toughest judge, and I gave her a 10, which means expectations are very high. That means you have to catch the pendulum and swing it back with the same amount of force, or you're going to get sliced. Now, certain poets in the slam didn't push the pendulum. It's very easily not to get sliced. She did. That was the time to go as hard as possible. You say somebody before you get a 10, okay, now that you know that the judges are okay with giving high scores, now go snatch those high scores, which means you got to swing the pendulum back. I can't tell you how many slams I won. I tell you about Texas Grand Slam. Round 1, poet does a poem, not a bad poem, super emotional, 27-9. The next round, poet does a good poem, not bad, just very quiet, 26-2. The next poet, she flubs her piece, starts over, it's a terrible score, she gets a 24-9. At this point, you've seen 2 poets who are very slow, very emotional, very low tone, and one who doesn't know their poem. So I went 4th, and I did my football piece in Texas. It got a 30. And the next 4 people behind me couldn't even crack a 29 because of the pendulum. So beware of the pendulum. People who come before you have a chance to slice you. All that said, I didn't hate your poem. I liked it. And you are getting better. But like, yo, you have got to learn to put yourself in the piece. So I'm going to give you, yes, it has opposable. It has arms. They come up. It's really dope. It's really dope. Let's see. I'm going to give you a 7.3.
All right, 7.3. Yo, almighty love, I appreciate it, my boy. Hey, you backstage? We're about to go ahead and close out a little bit. Yo, this is the All-Star. So I'm gonna bring up the winner. Therefore, it gets judges. The judges have envelope. Whoever, if she decides to do this, she will get to see what's inside of the envelope. Take the prize and walk away. Y'all already know who did. He swung the pendulum. Came through. See the next president. I ain't about to bring the intro back down. To the stream. Y'all put your hands together. Adam, President. Let's go. He did her thing tonight. Black Shark, if you can mute for me. All right. Yo, congratulations, Madam President. You did your thing tonight. So tonight, the All-Star is a little bit different. You won, but each of these judges have an envelope in their hand. You get a chance to pick which judge envelope you wish to pick. And that will tell what your prize is tonight. Now, you can take the prize money and walk away, or you can pick an envelope. This is all your choice.
Definitely pick an envelope.
Okay, we pick envelopes.
Okay. And there, I mean, I have no idea what's in what. So just because Black Shocker gave me the 10 tonight, I definitely have to go with your envelope.
All right, Black Shocker.
Well, crazy enough, you have won a brand new car. J.O. is extremely... J.O., I wrote the prompt. Was there a prize as well? I wrote the prompt. I don't think I wrote the prize.
You should have wrote what I sent you.
Okay, cool. So next week, y'all poem is called Memory Lane. Memory Lane is you are all going to choose a picture before Friday, and you are going to send it to J.O., and your poem has to be based off that. And I think your prize is double. It goes from 20 to 40, I believe.
Yes.
That's what it says on mine.
Let's go. Congratulations, Madam President. Next week, the theme is you heard. Back down. Shocker, if you can mute for me. We're going back down memory lane. Poets, you have until Friday to submit a photo, an old school photo of you. You know what? Better yet, we'll do it this way. Watch the video.
Yo. Yo. Something about photo albums and looking back on old memories just brings up a lot of emotions, y'all. So this week, the prompt is back down memory lane. So we want you to hook up one of those old pictures from the photo album, one when you was a little kid. I don't know. And write a poem inspired around that picture. But we're not going to stop there. We want to bring everybody in on the feeling. So make sure you submit your picture to J.O. Speaks DM, and we want to hear your poem. Take us all back down memory lane. Yeah. How was my acting, y'all? Was it? No. So listen, we're going back down memory lane, y'all, next week. Hey, Madam President, congratulations. Modesty, I appreciate you for stepping in. Y'all, this always the longest night, but y'all always know there's one that got to go. I have not did the math yet. I know it's between two. Does anybody have my back right now, or y'all want to give me a second to crunch this last little bit? Let me see if I can look at this and tell.
Listen, while he is crunch that math, and I am crunching on some crackers. Y'all know this was a long night. I needed some snacks. Listen, if you know any poet, or if you are a poet, make sure to go over to jailspeaks.com. Sign up for the next season series. Okay? And make sure that you're here to represent. Come ready, though, y'all. I'm excited about the next season. So go and sign up. Also, if you want to keep it going for the culture, make sure to drop a little point in that Cash App. So get that on the screen, J.O. Drop a little point in that Cash App, and for everybody who drops more than $20 or more, you will receive a gift from J.O. Congratulations, Madam President. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And listen, y'all, the poet that is leaving us this week, give it up for Almighty Luck, y'all. He did his thing. He's changing his style. But, y'all, I believe the next time we hear him, it's going to be phenomenal. When you're hitting this stage, you're not just walking away with a low score. I think you're walking away with more. You're walking away with feedback. You're walking away understanding of what you could do to take that piece. But, y'all, I ain't going to hold y'all no longer. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I'll see y'all back next week as we go back down memory lane. J.O. Speaks is out, y'all. Let's go.